Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 12 of season 2 of the F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for my home Grand Prix. We're back at Silverstone and hopefully we can try and get a good race under our belt. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Austria, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We had two very good races in the Styrian Mountains. You know, that track is one that I really enjoy inside this game. Silverstone, though, has been a bit of a tougher affair once again. So we obviously learnt last season here that you have got to try and manage the front left tyre. It is one of the circuits you've got to be really, really careful of inside F124 as well. And of course, obviously, at the time of recording this, I don't know yet, but I'm theorising this could be our last, could potentially be our last race for Haas, obviously. Ferrari are still sniffing around, so maybe, you know, obviously you get that, like, pre-intro to Hungary, where, you know, you kind of get that talk about, obviously, driver transfers that potentially are happening, and things like that. Maybe we could be on that radar this season as well, of course. Obviously, if you are new around here and you are enjoying the series, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed to the channel as well. We are mighty close to 130,000 subscribers at the moment. So it'd be greatly appreciated if you could help us get one step closer to our goal as well. But yeah, I mean, heading though to Silverstone this weekend, I've obviously mentioned in the last couple of races we can't do any more upgrades. It's because I don't have 60% recognition within the team, despite the fact I've scored every single one of our points this year. So neither Hulkenberg or I can do that upgrade, which is rather frustrating, to be completely honest. So we've kind of hit the ceiling of what this car is capable of right now, and you can tell, having a look at the upgrade progress, every other team is still pretty much making steps forward there. Red Bull haven't upgraded in a long old while. Aston Martin have brought a lot of upgrades in recent weeks as well. But yeah, because of these rule changes, it's kind of forcing us towards the back of the field. So we've got to be very, very careful with that. Taking a look at the championship standings, though, Verstappen now with an almost 50-point lead over his teammate Sergio Perez after a dominant weekend in Austria. But we need to try and get a good result here. Maybe we can close in the points to Alonso. And maybe as Aston Martin as well.
It might not be race day yet, but you wouldn't know it from looking at the stands. The fans are out in force. It's practice time here at Silverstone.
Nigel Mansell always claimed that the home crowd would give you about an extra 2/10 over a lap here at Silverstone. And of course, Nigel Mansell won this Grand Prix, I think it was 3 times in the end in Formula 1. I must admit, obviously, yeah, the real British Grand Prix next week. It's the first time, actually, in a couple of years I'm not going, unfortunately, at least as of right now. If there are any companies that fancy sending me, then I would greatly appreciate it, and, you know, you'd certainly get a little bit of recognition as well on the channel. But yeah, this place, you know, the atmosphere is absolutely electric. I'm hoping, you know, McLaren and Mercedes can both be quite strong around the Silverstone track. You know, obviously, Silverstone, admittedly, yeah, they've tried to blame Max Verstappen for the lack of attendance this year. I think they've only got themselves to blame with the horrible price ticketing system that they put in place. But obviously, it's free to watch this video. So it's, yeah, admittedly not quite the same, but it is still a race at Silverstone that might end up delivering more action. I suddenly remembered right towards the end of the lap what practice program I was on, so we've done a load of lift and coast through the final couple of corners, and yet we're still just about going to get the purple. Qualifying, yeah, was really our weak point last time out in Austria. You guys, yeah, obviously, I'm going to keep mentioning it, I guess, because I seem to get asked about it on every single video we do. You guys, you know, you've actually been doing your own tests and things like that and providing me with feedback, which I do greatly appreciate. But have obviously said, yeah, the AI is still definitely not using hot lap and overtake mode in their qualifying runs, so I trust you guys. You know, I think we've got the best audience here on F1 YouTube. There's generally a lot of very intelligent people inside our community, and I thank you all because you make me a better F1 player each and every time. So that's what we're still going to do as we head into real qualifying. But yeah, last year here, I think we got knocked out in Q1, didn't we? Unfortunately, just ended up the wrong side of the bubble right at the end of the session. So we'd like to see Q2 this year.
A one-time airfield fully owned by cars in this era. One of the finest ribbons of racetrack anywhere on Earth. It's high speed, it's dramatic, it's Silverstone.
Well, Well, Silverstone, Spa, Monaco, and Qatar. They're 4 very, very different circuits on the F1 calendar, but I would say they are probably the 4 most satisfying ones when you get a lap hooked up. Singapore as well is another one that is right up there. But as we make our way down out into Q1, of course, as soon as I start this session, an engine warning light has just flashed up, so I guess we're going to have to deal with that throughout this weekend, unless we end up out in Q1. Then I would just be willing to take the grid penalties and try to do a last question mark challenge. Reliability hasn't been fantastic, obviously having those 2 failures in the opening 5 Grand Prix. Since then, though, we've done alright. We've made it to the end of every single race. So, yeah, we've kind of built up... Oh, no, we didn't finish Monaco, did we, again? I tried to remove Monaco from my memory so far this game, because it has been absolutely terrible for us, but want to try and put on a good show for the home crowd as we make our way on our first lap. Yeah, this place, so fun when you get it nailed. Tense up on Logan Sargent at the moment as we make our way down in towards the final couple of corners. Hulkenberg really seems to lack 1 lap pace now in this series. Again, I think not helped by the lack of upgrades there as we chuck the car in to the final chicane there. A little bit too much oversteer on the entry, but we worked it out quite nicely. 28.1 puts us on the bubble. Verstappen is behind me, though, so I think I'm going to have to improve. Well, Verstappen is provisionally 1/1000th of a second slower than me here as we head back out for our final qualifying time. And he might still be stuck in traffic here, so there's no guarantee that the Dutchman is going to be able to improve. We're going to start our last lap, though. I mean, we're going to have to go for it, aren't we? As there we go, Oscar Piastri, top of the board. We're still... Oh, there we go. Now we're in the drop zone as Verstappen immediately goes and removes any hope we all had that he was going to have to try and work for the Grand Prix win like he did back in Miami. But yeah, we need to find just that little bit more. We need a couple more tenths here, and we should see ourselves into Q2. 10.5 up by the end of Sector 1. That is good. Braking down at the 50-meter ball. We're still actually down on the split time set by Alex Albon. Got to be really, really careful not to overwork the tyres here. That's not good. Just nudge the wheel in the gravel. We're still up, but we are just really struggling to get this car pointed on the absolute limit in recent times. Completely flat through the old turn 1. Obviously, you go down 1 gear just to give yourself a little bit of extra rotation through the corner as we try and chuck the car up through Maggots and Beckett. Come on, hang on to it. Right up over the curbs. Come on, I don't know how much time we need to get to Carlos Sainz here. I don't know what his time is. He's got to be less than 2 tenths up, though, as we make our way through the final couple of corners. We know there is a little bit of time to be had, but we are not finding it at the moment. Braking at the curb. Come on, surely that's got to find us a bit more time. Put the power down. Is it going to be enough? Are we out in Q1 here? I think we might be. P16. Damn it, man. Just messed that 1 corner up on the exit of Luffield, and that was enough to make the difference. There we go, Verstappen 2 tenths clear of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Their top 3 looking very, very similar to what we saw last year, but right when we need to try and prove ourselves to Ferrari at the moment, we are not managing it. Twice now we have been knocked out in Q1 in a row, and 3 of the last 4 Grand Prix, I think. Only Spain we made it through. Admittedly, that was the one where I did use the overtake mode. This Haas car really, really struggling for pace at this part of the season, but we've got to put that behind us. We've got to see if we can score points come the GP.
The home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. Silverstone circuit is comprised of 18 corners, 3.6 miles, with DRS detection zones at Village and Maggots. Your overtaking opportunities at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights. You've got to be brave on the throttle in order to succeed here. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Russell, Stroll, Gasly, Ocon, Albon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Mr. Monaco, Joe, Sargent, Hulkenberg, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
If we want to achieve a points finish like last race, you're going to need to push for positions early on. Let's go for it. Good luck.
We started P16 last weekend and we finished P8. We start P16 again this weekend. Maybe I would take a P8, to be honest, with the AI's pace here at Silverstone. The AI, though, the team want to go with a really, really aggressive strategy. Soft to medium is bold around this circuit, but you know what? We're going to listen to them. We're going to have a little bit of faith and pray that we can hang on to the first set of tyres. And as soon as I say that, I'm going to chicken out, actually. We're going to go medium to hard here and really just make sure that we have got enough pace in the car. Team aren't really convinced that the hard tyres work that well, but I guess it opens up if we want to go medium to soft. I'm just not convinced that the soft tyres are going to be able to stay cool enough in these conditions. Waiting, though, on the grid for the 5 red lights. It's going to be lights out, and away we go. And inevitably, we aren't going to get a particularly good start on those harder tyres.
On the internal combustion engine, be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power. Okay.
And immediately we've got a safety car.
The car is out. We need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
That looked like quite a violent crash for Lance Stroll. I've got no idea what happened. Well, let's watch this race start then on board with Lance Stroll as we make our way in towards the first corner. He's going to keep the revs low and then really time it quite well there. Looks like Hamilton and Alonso not getting off to particularly good getaways. We make our way down in towards that turn 1. They were 4 wide. I hadn't even noticed that on the outside of the corner there, but I think Gasly, it must have been, had a really good start as well in the second Alpine, as both Aston Martins and both Mercedes struggled down towards turn 1. Gasly clean around the outside and just tries to trim in there. I don't think they realised that they had so many cars on the inside of the corner. Russell, I think he just felt a little bit pinched, didn't he? You must have, yeah, see Russell there around the outside of Lance. I mean, oh, that is really uncomfortable in towards that first corner, but Stroll faced the brunt of it. Somehow Hamilton getting away with that one, but I think he picked up a 10-second penalty. But Stroll out of this Grand Prix, and yeah, kind of reminiscent of last year where we saw a lot of drivers get pinched. Stroll's wheel clean off, and that is the end of his afternoon. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments below whose fault you think that was. But we're going to take a big gamble at the end of lap 1. We're going to box for the hard tyres now. I don't know just how bad the tyre wear is going to be here, as we've already got a couple of other drivers with 10-second penalties.
Conditions and you can't overtake. Return the position.
We were admittedly a little bit cheeky there, as it definitely gains you time to pit at the end of a Grand Prix here, as we make our way back down the lane. Yeah, obviously the pit lane here at Silverstone takes so long because it is only 37 miles an hour that this might well be a worthwhile strategy for us to try and get to the end of the afternoon.
Go, go, go! That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
Like I said, don't quite know for sure how long the tyres will last, but yeah, I'm not convinced we're going to have the pace for points.
We want to finish the race on this compound.
There we go, at least the team have got the same idea as me. Like I said, we may as well try and do something different against the AI here to see if we can pick up some points. Imagine if the tyres hung on and we took the win. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Well, under the safety car then, this is really good. Tyres have taken exactly 0% wear so far in the 2 laps we've done under it. So, I mean, effectively we're on a one-stop strategy for the rest of the afternoon, but we need to try and get a little bit of heat into the tyres again. It's going to be critical off this restart that we stay in the DRS of our teammate in front, as it's going to be green flag racing through the final couple of corners. We're going to have no grip on these tyres.
Okay to use your overtake button.
Yeah, we're going to have to use a lot of our energy as well over the next couple of laps. Like I said, I don't think, unless we had a really well-timed red flag or something like that, that we're ever going to have the pace to win here today. But it would be nice if we could lead a few laps, that kind of thing, around this circuit. But finally, then we're going to go green flag racing. And almost immediately, you can see we are dropping back from Hulkenberg. They got 1% on them. Of course they still look good. Well, we've got to be very, very methodical then throughout the rest of the afternoon. Verstappen already trying to build up a little bit of a lead at the front of the field, as we are just like getting the tyres to where we need them. I mean, that lap we were 3 seconds slower than the Dutchman.
DRS is now online.
Lost 2 seconds to Hulkenberg though, so we've certainly got no chance of hanging on to the DRS. Yeah, both Sauber cars, though, seem to have dropped back from the group in front of them. But unfortunately, a Haas last and second to last. I mean, this is really turning into a race like no other I've had on this game.
Work at that target. Let's try and keep that going right through to the end of the race.
I made easy work of that target because it was a terrible target time to try and hit there. The gap seems to have pretty much stagnated, though, to Hulkenberg, which I guess is good. We're still running 2 seconds a lap slower than the Red Bull, though, at the front of the field. What I need is him and Perez to start fighting, just so we lose a bit less time. So we got yellows out. I think that might be Verstappen. I think Verstappen's gone for a spin. So as soon as I say that, the Dutchman running into problems here. And Perez now with a huge opportunity in the championship. Where is he? There he is, Max Verstappen. As he returns to the circuit, he has bottled it in front of the Silverstone crowd. And I can't speak for all, but I'm sure many around this Silverstone circuit will be happy to see that. And suddenly, the man that maybe I was worried about today is behind us. Well, let's take a look then, riding on board with Max Verstappen. He's already got a healthy lead over his teammate Sergio Perez, but might just be trying to make sure that he keeps him outside of the DRS range there as we make our way down into Luffield. Just gets a little bit of understeer, tries to tickle the throttle on the exit, and now he's going to have to watch every single car roll past him in this Grand Prix. I don't think he's got any drive, because that car was just rolling back into the gravel trap. And as we are going to be the last one to go past him, Verstappen, he has now got a mountain to climb. Oh, we've got more yellow flags. Who now's got issues? This is just chaos. We're only on lap 7. I think we got our first mechanical failure. It's Alonso. So both Aston Martins here at home out of the Grand Prix inside the first, well, 8 laps here. Disappointment for Fernando. Poor placement for Lance Stroll. And we're up into 17th place then. I'm prepared to let Verstappen by if he's willing to drag me along in the DRS. Well, we're setting new personal bests as well, and tyre wear. Well, look at that, 14% on the front left. We should absolutely be able to make it to the end of the afternoon if we can make sure we don't cook that front tyre. Verstappen, though, will steamroll past us.
In your MFD if you need to.
Yeah, we just want to try and stick with the Dutchman, and maybe he can drag me to the next cars in front. I think Verstappen knows what I'm trying to do at the moment. He's kind of trying to break free from me very, very quickly, using more battery on this lap as we run just ever so slightly wide. He's going to have to work harder than that, though, if he wants to get me out of the range. Let's not forget as well, I mean, those tyres should easily be able to make it a half distance on that Red Bull, but they will be wearing at a faster rate than our own. I'm just monitoring the gap to Perez at the front of the field. He, Charles Leclerc, pretty much everybody else will be sensing a huge opportunity to try and take points out of the Dutchman today. I mean, this was basically where Verstappen's title started to unravel last season. Luckily, he had a big enough advantage that he was still able to convert. Are we starting to see the same this season? Oh, here we go. 3 wide, I believe that is, down the Wellington straight there as Magnussen and Zhou Guanyu just try and squeeze out Logan Sargent. Verstappen, Hulkenberg and I all having to watch on, and obviously 2022, Verstappen, he's never had a huge amount of luck around this circuit. Obviously 2022 picked up damage and ended up in a battle with Mick Schumacher in his Haas towards the end of the afternoon, as what on earth is going on here? Hulkenberg and Sargent slow each other up. We're going to try and go down the middle, and that's going to be one of the oddest double overtakes I'll make inside F124 there, but I guess we put Verstappen behind me again. I'm not just going to sit at the back and wait.
That overtake button a bit more.
I am ever so slightly worried, though, about that front left, as we are keeping it right at the top of the temperature window right now. But they're battling at the front of the field as well. This is perfect early on. Ooh, okay. Already then starting to see a McLaren and a Ferrari into the pit lane then. So this should start giving us an idea of the advantages that we're going to have ready for the second half of this race. Basically, we're just going to be watching cars close in on me towards the end of the afternoon as Verstappen peels into the pit lane. Zhou and Magnussen there decide they're going to dispute P14 temporarily. Oh, as we just try and roll the throttle on out in the final corner. So there we go, Hamilton with that penalty as well. We are obviously clear out in front of the Ferrari of Yuki Tsunoda, and luckily we should get a delta as well, as down the inside of Sargent will go. We won't get that delta anymore, but Yuki making his way out the pit lane. I reckon we've got about 10 seconds. It's probably not enough that we can fight for the win necessarily, but it should be enough that leapfrogs a lot of quicker cars. I still maintain that we need to do better than Sauber this season. We need to prove that we have got more pace over them as Zhou Guanyu decides to sit in behind Magnussen. Maybe they're planning a formation ready for the pit stops, but I'll make the double overtake. I'm not too worried as, yeah, there we go. Zhou Guanyu decides he doesn't want to go wheel to wheel with his teammate before making his box. So he will come in then. So we're going to elevate ourselves right up towards the front of the order. One of the Alpines now leading. There we go. Got past Leclerc. I mean, we've still got a few guys with penalties as well, so that might play into our hand late on in the day. As we make our way out through turn 1. Ferrari now look like they've got the upper hand over Red Bull. Perez has really dropped back. So our battle today might be with Tsunoda, the man we could be replacing. Surely we're going to see all of the other soft runners dive in then. I know we had a couple of laps under safety car. Oh, he's not. Hulkenberg or myself are not in the pit lane. No idea what Mark's talking about. That's not good. He should know what his own cars are doing. So we make our way through the final corner. There we go. Now Hulkenberg into the pit lane then as Ricciardo has moved over to hard compound tyres. So has George Russell. We've got 6 seconds though over Charles Leclerc. So let's enjoy leading a couple of laps here at our home Grand Prix. But it is, yeah, Leclerc, Piastri, Tsunoda all very close together. But if we could slot in behind Charles, maybe work together, there's still the opportunity for some big points. Well, this is really critical for us at the moment then. Leclerc and Piastri going about 1.5 seconds a lap faster. But if they start fighting here for the, well, effectively the lead of the Grand Prix, then we've got a big opportunity just to try and prolong our advantage at the front. Or, if push comes to shove, sitting behind them, watch them battle, and either try to fight with them right towards the end, or just make sure we bring home some decent points. Piastri, new fast lap of the day. 2.6 seconds quicker than I went that lap.
Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon.
Admittedly, he was helped by the slipstream from Charles Leclerc and the DRS, but that is ridiculous. Well, there we go. It might not be Leclerc, Piastri and I. It might just be Piastri and I. Charles Leclerc with potential mechanical issues here late on. It might not affect him right to the end of the afternoon, but will certainly make a difference. He has now desperately got to try and hang on in the DRS, or make sure, at least for my case, that Perez doesn't latch back onto that train. Now we've got to be really, really methodical here. Leclerc has lost the range to Oscar. The McLaren driver is going to absolutely fly around my outside back down towards the old turn 1, and I'm happy to let him do so, because it'll mean we get the DRS out onto the hangar straight.
Position, that's us down a place.
Maybe underestimated the amount of downforce we lose going through the old turn 1, but I'm happy to work with Oscar Piastri here. I'm happy just to let him drag me along towards the end of the afternoon, especially if we can build up a little bit of a gap over Charles Leclerc here. You can see top end speed. The DRS and overtake mode combo is still lethal around this track, especially, you know, we have still got a very, very good power unit underneath us. It just feels that a lot of other teams have been able to kind of catch back up in that regard. But yeah, Piastri 1 win so far this year back at Japan. We have 1 win so far this year back at Jeddah.
Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed it.
Mark just hyping me up a little bit. Is, yep, Leclerc's starting to drop back, but he's taking Tsunoda and Perez with him. Well, if my memory serves me correct, Oscar Piastri was in the fight with Verstappen for the win here last season and just lost it on the final lap of the Grand Prix. I'm sure, I mean, this has got to be up there for most F1 drivers as a circuit they really, really want to win at. Unfortunately now, our hopes of that today seem to just be evading us as we've lost the DRS to the McLaren man. I mean, unless something disastrous happens to these tyres, which could still happen by the end. That front left is looking angry. This has definitely still been the right strategy choice. But are we just starting to see, you know, hopes of a huge point soar collapsing? On 6 laps to go, my main goal still here has got to be to try and beat Charles Leclerc. Don't know how long his mechanical issues are going to plague him, as we'll let Perez by down the hangar straight. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can really do apart from trying to hang on to the rear end of the car. Oscar Piastri, though, unless something goes catastrophic for him, looks set to try and claim his 2nd victory of the year. He's been silently very, very quick so far this season. The other driver, of course, I'd love to beat here has got to be Yuki Tsunoda. I mean, top Brit I would take, but yeah, Tsunoda and Leclerc, those are the ones I want to try and beat here. The Japanese driver more than anybody else. I guess the other good thing for us at the moment is, of course, we know every single lap the AI's tyres are slowly getting closer and closer in terms of performance to our own. So here goes Yuki Tsunoda trying to look around the outside. Not happening there, sunshine. As Norris now will try and get the move on him. They're still both behind us. Oh, Perez looks up. Thank you very much. We'll claim the freebie there. He's going to get in the way of Tsunoda and Lando Norris on the exit of the corner as well. And we have suddenly been given another chance. Oh no, Perez, don't try it here, please, sir. Just back out of it, man, on the outside. He's going to try and find the grip now. I mean, we didn't really give him much space at all. Can I just make sure that we claim the DRS, though, on the back straight? I think we have there as we force him out in through Maggots and Beckett's. That's probably a move I wouldn't be so tempted to try with Max Verstappen. But we'll claim the DRS, and it will give us just that little bit more defensive behaviour against the Red Bull. Here goes Tsunoda down the inside of him. I mean, all this fighting really plays into our hand late on here. 4 laps to go at the British Grand Prix, and we are still in the fight for the podium. I'm just trying to make sure we get the ERS battery to where the team want it, just so we can say we've achieved that goal. There we go.
Great stuff,
Oh,
mate.
Tsunoda does make a mistake.
Oh. A long way to go in this race, though, so keep your head down.
We were so close to being spat off his rear wheel there, as Perez will take the chance as well to try and slide back down the inside off of the corner. Tsunoda knows he needs to run now, but we know we need to try and get back past Checo if we want any chance of P2 here as they make their way through the old Turn 1. That Red Bull has just got so much grip. That higher baseline that car started with has really played into their hands so far this year. Are we going to see Checo, though, get a run back past Yuki on this hanger straight? Surely we are. So we're just going to try and hang close to the pair of them. 3 laps left of the British Grand Prix, and Perez will storm back through. I wanted to see Tsunoda go side by side with him at the end of the straight, but we might be forced to watch this battle unfold as we battle Lando for best of the Brits. And we battle the rear end of the car for grip. Tyre warning lights flashed up. That is not good. We are really, really leading still on that left front tyre late on in the day, as we're still just trying to hang on. I don't really care if we can't beat Yuki and Perez here, but as long as we hang close to them, say this strategy still has worked out well for us, unless we get a puncture right towards the end of this race. We're just monitoring the gaps, though. Gasly is slowly closing in as well, so Charles Leclerc, heartbreak for the Ferrari driver.
19.8 seconds.
And on a weekend where he could have really done with some big points there to close in the gap on Verstappen, not even sure he's going to beat him, as we'll just once again hang in the DRS of Yuki. It is critical. Lap to go, and I think Lando Norris is about to get a run on me down the hanger straight. He won't be able to get in the DRS of the 2 in front of him, so it's still going to be a battle of the Brits into the final lap of this Grand Prix. His teammate Oscar Piastri, though, rounding the final couple of corners, looks set to get his 3rd career victory here. And what a location to do it at, as we are really, really struggling. These tyres are practically 50 pence pieces now as we round the final corner to start the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's got to be one of the weirdest strategies we've ever tried, but I think we can safely say up to now it has worked quite nicely for us. To round our way back through Turn 1 and Turn 2, we've got to stay in the range of Norris, who is desperately trying to close in on Yuki and Perez up the road. But surely, yeah, with that McLaren not claiming any DRS, we can try and get a little bit closer to him. We've got to drain the battery, though, at every possible opportunity. We need to get as much DRS off him as we possibly can here, but the gap isn't coming back down. The AI, like I said, they're strategic now with their battery on the final lap. They will drain it rather than trying to harvest, ready for another lap here. So we make our way through this middle sector, though. Like I said, in Austria, we went from 16th to 8th. I was going to be happy if we managed to do the same today. We've certainly gone better there. 5th place here at Silverstone. I think, yeah, we haven't quite got enough to stick with Lando Norris right towards the end of this, but we used the strategy to great effect. We used the other cars to work in our favour as well. But rounding the final couple of corners, Oscar Piastri, I believe, is going to be the first Australian to win at Silverstone since that remarkable race back in 2010. Not bad for a number 2 driver. Oscar Piastri might well say the same thing today. He is going to win the British Grand Prix. Perez will hang on against Yuki Tsunoda in towards the final couple of corners, and we use our strategy to full effect here today. It is going to be 16th to 5th.
He'd won a sprint before, but now it's time for Grand Prix success. Oscar Piastri takes the win.
to come here and take victory as a team today on home soil was so important. You can see how much it means to them. The drivers there doing their part, the team's strategy was perfect as well, and the fans really embraced that. What a great atmosphere we had here today.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
Well, there we go then. From 16th place on the grid, we are going to walk away with 5th here at the British Grand Prix. Not a bad second home race, sorry, I should say, in this series. But I'll be honest, I think I'm more impressed with Carlos Sainz. 14th to 6th in that V-Carb. And he was on the normal strategy, so he must have had an absolute blinder of a Grand Prix to carve his way through there. Oscar Piastri, though, takes the win ahead of Perez and Yuki Tsunoda, so at least the gap at the top has been cut down there. Leclerc, agony for him, as he doesn't even walk away with a single point, as Verstappen will recover to 9th place there, right behind Lewis Hamilton come the checkered flag. Further down the order, well, yeah, Mercedes, George Russell, 13th for him. He's just had no confidence in the last couple of races. Hulkenberg beats out the likes of Zhou and Magnussen there, as well as Logan Sargent, and it was only Aston Martin that couldn't get a car to the checkered flag. That means if you take a look at the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen now, his lead at the top cut back down to 32 points. So Sergio Perez is doing a better job than last year at staying close to his rival. Alonso, we have jumped him again in the drivers' table. You can see it is all 4 Brits now in a row. Lando Norris on 100, Hamilton on 93, Russell on 81, and myself on 79 there, as Tsunoda up into P5. Piastri as well. He's been quietly very consistent this year and could be a threat to Charles Leclerc and the best of the rest standing. That result as well bumped Sainz back ahead of Danny Rick a bit further down in their battle for that second Red Bull seat. Although I must admit, I think at the moment Sergio Perez is doing enough to keep that ride there. Constructors-wise, McLaren open up the gap over Mercedes. They are now just 13 points back behind Ferrari, though, as we leave Silverstone. We've cut down the gap to Aston Martin as well, back to 18 points, as V-Carb and Alpine, they are looking like they could be locked into battle right the way throughout the rest of the season as well there. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourselves subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Hungarian Grand Prix.